What people tell us, before I would be in the room and I didn't know if anybody was in the room. And now I can see that there's people next to me. There's a patient who never saw his grandchildren because he went blind by the time they were born, and he can see them playing. He's not able to see their faces, but he can see them playing and participate in those activities. It translates into safety, seeing a stationary or moving car, seeing the edge of the sidewalk. And it's not meant to replace their cane, but actually supplement it. We have one patient who jogs with it, and that was his goal. So he jogged without it too. And totally blind patient whose goal was to supplement his ability to jog and be more safe when he does it. And he's doing it. And we had another patient who went to church for Christmas, and he saw the flickering of the lights, of the candle. It's little things, but they may make such a big difference for those patients. Aragus II is really a brainchild of Dr. Mark Humayun, and he just received the National Medal of Innovation and Technology for it. The way I look at it, it's really in its infancy. It's approved by FDA, and that's the only implant that's currently approved, but there's other ideas of how to do it maybe even better that are being developed both in the States and around the world. One of the reasons I went into Retina is because I felt that's the field that's evolving so fast. So I haven't been out of training that long, and I'm doing things now that I didn't do in my training. And it's crazy, because other areas take decades to change. And I think in my lifetime, I'll be able to see that I would look at Argus that we're doing now and think it's so primitive, and now it's cutting edge of technology. So it's really exciting. I had a patient who came in to see us, and she was one of the possible candidates, and we were talking to her, and I said, when was the last time you saw your eye doctor? And she said, well, it's been 25 years. And I said, what do you mean? You have this condition and you haven't been checked for 25 years? And she said, well, this is what happened. I was young. I went to a physician who told me, you have retinitis pigmentosa, you're going to go blind, there's nothing we can do. And she said, why would I waste my time? There's nothing that could be done. And just tell this patient, well, actually, it's not the case anymore. And Argus is just one of the options. There's, gene therapy being developed. There's so many things that are kind of being investigated, and to tell her, well, actually that statement is wrong, and just to see like the smile on her face, because she was told, I'm sorry, you're going to be blind, that's it. So it's pretty rewarding. There was Aragus I, and it had fewer electrodes. This one has 60 electrodes, and the original one had 16. There's different ways that they're improving it. One way is improving just the algorithm of it, improving the technology of the glasses. So there's one algorithm called face recognition. So the technology would recognize anything in the room that has nose, two eyes, and a mouth, and that would recognize as a person. So, or infrared, animate versus inanimate objects. So all those things are kind of, they could be implemented for people who already had the implant. And then the company is working on new prototypes, and changing things that way. I think there's going to be, Aragus 3 and 4. And probably, like I mentioned, there's also going to be other options other than Argus. First, they have the other eye. So we always tell the patients, there's so many new things coming out, and that's a very valid question. They're like, should I get it now, or should I wait for something possibly better to come along? And we tell them, we don't know when the next thing is going to happen, so it's up to you, but you always have the other eye. As far as I know, there hasn't been any cases, let's say somebody had Aragus I, and they took out the Aragus I and put Aragus II in the same eye. And that would be a little bit technically, surgically difficult. It all depends on how the technology develops, and maybe you would be able to replace them, but not with Aragus II. The way I think about it, and maybe it's not a best analogy, but in the past, AMD was a disease that you couldn't do anything for, right? You would see these patients and you would slowly watch them lose their central vision. And then it got revolutionized. I mean, now it's absolutely treatable disease, and we're able to keep very, very good visions in majority of those patients. So I think in terms of retinal dystrophies and retinitis pigmentosa in particular, I think something similar is going to happen. Maybe not to the same degree, but it's going to be conditions that we can do something for. And I think it's really empowering for me and for those patients as well.